Hey, thanks for stopping by. This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And today we're going to look at the SDR Console program. This is version 3, and it also has record capability. Now, I was showing you a couple of shows ago about SDR Uno and its record capability. In SDR Uno, it is recording everything. So when you do a playback of a recording, it's just like you're listening to the SDR, and you can tune to the extent of the bandwidth and frequencies you had set up. So right now, I'm in the 460 band, which is another business band. And I've got the bandwidth set to 6 megahertz for my SDR Play 1. And I'm using a disc cone antenna on top of the roof. And of course I'm using the SDR Console version 3. And this one, unlike SDR Uno, will give you 2 methods of recording. Now, if you remember from my other show, SDR Uno did a great job of recording everything. And you could play back that file, you could tune within that band and do everything that you would normally do if you were listening directly to the SDR device. But the drawback is to capture all that data, it created these huge files. I mean, as I showed in that show, boy, that's very good language. As I showed, just to record a few minutes was gigabytes of storage, gigabytes. Well, turns out that SDR Console, and I'll go to it right now, under record and playback, has 2 modes right here. It has an audio mode where it only records the audio. And it has the data record, which is exactly almost SDR Uno. So that this one will create those huge files. Okay, so the advantage of SDR Console is it has that other mode which only records the audio, which is what I wanted. But I also will have occasion to use the data record, where it records everything. That means I can use SDR Console to record the audio and not have to use a separate program to record the audio. It's just more convenient. And here's something that's interesting. If you go to, I'm going to click on record, audio only. It brings up this window, and you probably can't see it, but down here, there's an option. Ignore squelched data. So that means if you got the squelch running, which I do right now, during periods where there's no transmissions, it doesn't record. So it doesn't record a whole bunch of blank time or audio. That is what I want. That's exactly what I want. So I can set this on a frequency. Say I know a frequency that I know they don't transmit very often, and I want to capture it. I don't care. The one thing it doesn't have, to my knowledge, it doesn't have a timestamp. So you have no idea when a signal came through. I think that's the case. There are standalone record programs that will do that. So this means you can set this up to record the audio, and you can record it in a couple of different formats. MP3 creates the smallest file. It's not the highest fidelity, but it's the smallest file, and we're dealing with just communications, people talking, so we don't need high fidelity. So I could set this up. tell it to ignore squelch data, set the squelch, and this is where you would have normally a FM station, and it will not record when the squelch has not broken. It's not open. So you're not hearing any conversation. Ideal. This is ideal. So you can start this. And when you start this, and this is recording audio only, it is now recording the audio. And I don't think there's anything here on the screen right now telling me how big the file is so far. It might be there, and if you know where it is, please let us know. It does tell you up here, and I moused over it so it's covered it up. Okay, go away. There it is. Let me sneak up on it. Right down below this is, did I turn the cursor on this recording? I don't know, but in the upper right hand corner of the spectrum display near the top of the screen there is the word recording to tell you that it is recording audio. And right now it should not be recording anything because it hasn't broken the squelch. So if I stop, if I come up here and stop, then if I go and look at that file, now let's see if I can find the file. Sometimes I have difficulty finding where the file went. Let's see. Okay, I think it's under Documents. And here it is right here. Okay, so here it is. It started on 1/10/2018, 1:45 p.m. That's when it started. And the file size is 0 because it never broke the squelch. And it gives you some good details on the file name. Tells you when it started. It tells you the frequency at the time that you started recording. I think you can change the frequency as it's recording, but it won't reflect it in the title. And then here's another one I did the other day, and it was only 97K. I think I had it record for maybe 20 minutes, and there wasn't much conversation, so it only recorded like 4 seconds of audio. Here's another one that I recorded 27 seconds. So you can see this is ideal in that it doesn't fill up your hard drive with no audio, just noise, because you got the squelch. You have to have the squelch on and working. You have to have that. So that's pretty cool. I wanted to show it to you. Another nice feature of SDR Console. The unfortunate thing about SDR Console, there's not a lot of documentation, and it's a very complex program. Complex in that it has thousands of features, and I could not find any documentation on the record function. I could see where it says it has record, and that's it. That's all it told. There may be a file out there someplace. Now, Simon doesn't do much documentation. Simon is the author. He doesn't do much documentation. There are people that have done pretty good jobs of documenting the features, but most of them have quit doing that. So it's several versions old. I did not find anything about record, how it works, how much memory it takes up on your hard drive. Okay, I'm still recording. I thought I stopped this. I guess I didn't stop it. Okay. So let me go back now that it has actually stopped, and let's see how big that file size. Okay, that file size was 1 meg. 1 meg. I'm surprised it was even that big because I didn't have a squelch even open. Anyway, they're small files compared to I think I deleted all the ones that SDR. Yeah, I did. All the ones that I recorded with SDR Uno, I deleted because they were gigabyte files. And if you use, am I babbling or what here? surely repeating myself a lot. If you use this option here, and I don't know if my cursor is working, if you use the data record option, then it will record everything just like you were, when you play it back, it's just like you were using the hardware. So you can, go through everything. Now, another thing that I'm pretty sure of this, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, depending on the bandwidth you've set up. Let me go back to home. Here's the bandwidth. And I, right now, have a bandwidth, what's on the screen is 6 megahertz. Well, normally you don't need that much, especially if you're only interested in maybe, just a small segment of the bands. You can reduce that number. By reducing that number, the file that is created is much smaller. So that's how you can keep that file size down. So you typically probably want to keep it at 2 megahertz, the bandwidth at 2 megahertz. Same thing with SDR Uno. Change that, reduce that bandwidth, and the files will be smaller when it records everything, data, when it records everything. So that's it. I just want to show you that. If you have any questions or you have any comments or corrections, I'm learning both SDR Uno and SDR Console. They are very complicated, but you can do so many things with it, and this is just one function that I definitely would use. For instance, right here. Here's this signal here, and you can see every once in a while, oh, I know why I didn't hear it, because I have it on mute. That's why. But every once in a while, there's some conversation that goes on. See, there's a little piece right there, and it would be nice to have it record that, and then later, when I come back to the program, I can play that back. And let's see here. Let's go back to record, playback. And so you would, if you wanted to play back something that you had recorded, you'd use browse, and then you'd find that file. Either the audio file, which is over, I hope the cursor is working, over in the upper left-hand corner, or right next to it is data record, which is the big file. If you enjoyed the show, please give me a thumbs up. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.